So telomeres are just little things that are on the end of your chromosomes. You know, you've got 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 from mom, 23 from dad. They're paired up for 46 chromosomes. Those chromosomes are in every cell of your body, except red blood cells don't have nuclei, so they're not in red blood cells. But all your white blood cells have them. And those chromosomes have on the end of them like a little tail, like a kite having a tail on it. And the tail on that kite are repeats of the DNA, adenine, cytosine, thymidine, guanosine, little repeats. But any kind of stress or damage to your cells starts shortening your kite's tail. And once your kite loses its tail, as the kite falls down. That's the same thing in your body. They can look at your white blood cells and look at the length of your telomeres and let you know where you stand in the population of people your age, younger and older. It's an expensive test, but it's a good test to do. But get this is like 4 years ago, I guess. Telomere length telomere length, not maybe, it is a marker of biological aging. Telomere length of white blood cell DNA was 5% longer among multi-daily vitamin users. It's not a lot, but even 5%, why not? This is a great one. This is from JAMA, just February 2013. I'm not going to read all that exactly, but what they did is they looked at white blood cells in the blood, and they gave people, volunteered to be quarantined and gave them nasal drops of a cold virus, and then monitored them for 5 days for infection and illness. And the study showed that this particular white blood cell, the telomere length was associated with increased risk of experimentally induced respiratory infection and clinical illness. The shorter the telomere, the more likely you are to get a cold. So that's why you want to take multiple vitamins. That's one reason. That's why you want to do all these health things to keep your telomeres longer. Psycho-emotional stress alone will shorten telomeres. They took women at age 20. They had children. The children that had things like autism, type 1 autoimmune diabetes, cystic fibrosis, whatever, those mothers obviously were under a lot of stress. They checked their telomeres, and they checked the telomeres on just women who had normal children, healthy, no side effect. And at age 35, they rechecked them. Well, the women at 35 had some shortening of their telomeres, and it had nothing to do with anything other than just being on very high stress.
Along with that, the omega-3 research that was put out with.
Yeah, that does it too. Again, absolutely. So the multiple vitamins, the omega-3s, the probiotics, all these things help maintain good telomere length. So here's one again from JAMA from just last year on multiple vitamins prevention of cancer in men. The main reason they were taking multivitamins was to prevent nutritional deficiency. But a daily multivitamin significantly but modestly reduced the risk of total cancer through 11 years of treatment and follow-up. So now even JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, the most conservative journal out there, is saying potential use of multiple vitamin supplements to prevent cancer in middle-aged and older men. You don't have to be a middle-aged or older man. Anybody can do supplement, and it will help you be healthier. This is the other reason why. This is a really busy picture. This is a picture of the liver in the background. All the toxins in your body go through what is known as these phase 1 reactions and phase 2 reactions, and then they, in the middle of all this, they can have these intermediary metabolites. Look at the nutrients you need for your liver to detoxify appropriately. B2, B3, B6, folic acid, B12, glutathione, branched chain amino acids, flavonoids, glycine, amino acids, glycine, taurine, glutamine, N-acetylcysteine, methionine, down here, all the same stuff, zinc, copper, selenium, vitamin E, all this stuff. That, if for no other reason than just keep up with your ability for your liver to detox is what you're doing. So, Dr. Damien sells Nutrient 950 without iron for men and postmenopausal women. If you're still having menstrual cycles, you definitely need to supplement with iron. You probably need to periodically be checked to make sure you're not low in iron. A lot of women end up at the, let's put it like this. If you're a woman, the range for iron, I don't remember the numbers, but you want to be somewhere in between low normal and mid normal. You don't want to be high on iron, even in the high normal range. Because high normal, iron is one of those minerals that can cause a lot of inflammation. So you want to be in the middle or somewhere between low normal and middle. You certainly don't want to be deficient. Deficient in iron opens up, I got a slide, I'm not going to show it here, but deficiency in iron causes the cells of your intestinal tract to upregulate the receptors that suck iron in, and those same receptors suck in lead, cadmium, and mercury. So your body gets tricked and trying to pull iron in pulls more toxins in. So that's probably another one that we didn't really put on the list that ought to be a standard draw for women. If you're menstruating and you know you're having heavy cycles, you must get an iron profile, which is a serum iron binding capacity, percent saturation, and something called ferritin. You need to get all four of those and make sure you stay on enough iron. Just don't overdo it. That's why we did that thing back there, the toxic at one end and insufficient at the other. You cannot know this without testing. You don't have to do a lot, but some things, probably most things don't need to be checked more than every 3 months. Most things every 6 months or maybe once a year. But you really need to do it because things change. So this is what's in that Nutrient 950. And the thing I like about them, they've already got the folate in the methyl form 800, the B12 in the methyl form 1000. And the riboflavin, they've got that in the active form as well. So the active forms are what you want. I can see they're down here, active. B6 is in the active form. So if you weren't going to do anything else out at night other than take Nutrient 950 and plus fish oil, you've done a huge thing for yourself. Buffered ascorbic acid capsules, they have the capsules in powder. They use calcium ascorbate, magnesium ascorbate, potassium ascorbate, and fat-soluble palmitate. So that way you're making sure you get enough vitamin C. I'm a big believer in at least 500, if not 2,000 to 3,000 vitamin C most days, because it just does so many things that you don't even begin to know what all it does.
You paid like 15,000.
You what? Well, if you got a cold or a flu or anything, if you have a cold or a flu or anything, you keep taking it until you get diarrhea. You can take like a couple thousand milligrams every couple of hours and keep right on going. And once you get diarrhea, you can back off. But I've had people taking 60 grams. I've had people with bad flu and like a bad strep throat take 60 grams of vitamin C and not go to the bathroom. It's vitamin C is to inflammation as water is to fire. For any kind of viral illness, if somebody's dying with a viral illness or really sick, go to a practitioner that does IV vitamin C and get 50 to 75 grams of vitamin C a day until you get better. So we did the multiple vitamin, there's vitamin C. This is what I was telling you about the life extension, the gamma, the ethylcopyrol, tocotrienols. And if you look what's in it, the problem with alpha tocopherol by itself, it tends to wash these out. It just is kind of a bully and sucks in more. But see here, they've only got 45 in there, which is okay, and the gamma, they got 178, and then appropriate other numbers. They have actually got data using this product before meals will cause your blood sugar 2 hours after a meal to be back down to normal quicker. So it really helps lowering after eating blood sugar, which is when we get a lot of the damage to our blood vessels after eating. So this is one you ought to really have here, I think. All you do is call and get them over here. Probiotic, this 50 billion pure encapsulations is a good one. It's got lactoplantarum, lactoacidophilus rhamnosus, and these two bifidobacteria. 50 is probably enough for most people. I get one from another company and I take more like a couple hundred a day, but I feel like I need it. You may or may not be able to tell when anything's happened. If you get too much, you may get too gassy or too bloated and you back off. But as a maintenance, it's really good to make sure you're doing Diplo and Lacto most days if you can. Vitamin D, this is one we talked about, the 5,000 unit. We got a lot of different ones, but that's sort of the starting place. Most everybody can take that. Even kids could take it if they took it just every other day. It could be the equivalent of 2,500 rather than 5,000. They've given kids as much as 50,000 in a day to try to get them rapidly up. So it's, you can take large doses for short periods of time. So this is just again showing what's in that. Purolene is, this is so funny, he's got this here in the way of capsules, and that detox pack he's got here is excellent. I mean, anybody wants to do a detox, that Pure Caps detox, I'd totally forgotten about that. But Purolene is
You
a
spotted it
food.
last time you were here though, on your eye. What's this?
Yeah.
I remember that.
But Purolene is a supplement powder you can take to help lose weight. And this is what's in it. It's got protein, pea protein, rice protein, apple pectin, chia seed, sweetened with stevia. So you can take that as like in between the meal snacks or as a meal substitute. One scoop is 15 grams of protein. It's only 2 of sugar, 3 of fiber, only a gram of fat. And it's got these antioxidants in it, acetylolic, camel, quercetin, all this. So I don't know if you've tried that, but there are a whole lot of powders you can take that can make you really help you manage your weight. So we mentioned magnesium glycinate. This is what it looks like. That's the one that's very well absorbed. Even if you tend to have diarrhea, you can take magnesium glycinate and you won't, very unlikely to get diarrhea from it. The opposite end of the spectrum is magnesium citrate. That will tend to make you loose if you take very much. They've also got a citrate malate, which is sort of in between the two. Magnesium and insulin resistance. We didn't even mention this, but magnesium alone and magnesium and vitamin D work better than metformin and triglycerides, some of the prescription diabetic drugs that people are taking for type 2 diabetes. If they got a magnesium and vitamin D, it would be better than the drugs and a lot safer. And these are run out of diabetes care. So magnesium deficiency is associated with insulin resistance in obese children. So if you got a child that's a bit chubby, you really need to check them. Their fasting blood sugar, their fasting insulin level, and if they're overweight, you just ought to go ahead and get their vitamin D and magnesium levels up. And the way you're gonna get that magnesium level up is you just start taking regular doses, double the dose, maybe if they get diarrhea, back off. But after they've been on it for a month or two, then get the red blood cell magnesium level and make sure it's normal. The fact is, if your red blood cell magnesium is normal, it means your white blood cell magnesium is normal. It means the cells lining your blood vessels magnesium is normal, and your inflammatory index is going to drop way down and inflammation will go away, just with magnesium and vitamin D and fish oil. So magnesium, red blood cell versus serum, we already talked about this. I was yelling about this long before it became popular because I'd see people in the ER with these horrible arrhythmias, and they'd measure them at their serum magnesium, and the range for serum magnesium is 1.8 to 2.1. And I'd say, it's normal there now, but if you did a total body magnesium, I guarantee it's low, and sure enough, the next day, those would go from 2 down to 1.5 or something. And if you did a red blood cell magnesium, it was way low. So, the serum level, if you're treating somebody with an arrhythmia in the hospital, you want it between 1.8 and 2.1, but that's not telling you anything about the total body. So changes in red blood cell magnesium are linked to hypertension, premenstrual syndrome, fatigue syndrome, premature delivery, preeclampsia, which is super high blood pressure in a pregnant woman. All this is fixable with something as simple as magnesium. It's like a nickel a day or something. So here's something right out of JAMA that's real important, and this is sort of the end of the lecture here. And I hope Dr. D gets back, if not, somebody will tell him. Glucose tolerance test. Everybody knows if you've got even the thought of a problem with your heart, what kind of test you get? Stress test. They put you on a treadmill, get you walking, and you're looking for your heart rate to get up to 120, 130, maybe even 140, see how well you're tolerating it, but they're gonna start looking for irregular beats and or a drop in the QRS of the heart. If parts of that start looking abnormal, that means that you're not getting enough oxygen to the electrical conducting system of your heart, and it's misbehaving. So with that, they're gonna send you to get a cardiac cath and send you to squirt them, stretch them, stent them, bill them. That's the name of the doctors. They squirt them with a dye, they stretch them with a balloon, they stent them with a stent, and then they give them a real big bill, like $9,000, insane amount of money. And I used to operate on people and cut out giant aneurysms and one thing or the other, and be lucky if I got paid $2,000. And then you're taking care of them for 3 months as well. So they got a real racket there. So after squirt them, stent them, bill them, they send them to cut them, and cut them open, and if the cut them works, they're fine. If not, they go back to squirt them, stent them, and bill them.
Oh.
Everything we're telling you is the way to protect your heart. Every bit of this will protect your heart. Ideally, your fasting insulin ought to be 4 to 5 units. Anything over 14, it means you've got too much insulin, it means your body's on fire and you need to put out the fire. Fasting blood sugar ought to be 80 to 90. I'm having trouble getting mine down to 90, it's been 92, 93. The older you get, even if you work out and you're skinny, which I am at this point, I'm having trouble getting down there. There's a few more things I need to do and I'm working on it. So then what you do is once you find your fasting blood sugar and your fasting insulin, they give you 75 grams of glucose to either drink or eat. You wait 2 hours, and 2 hours later, it should be back down about somewhere, like if you started at 80, it ought to be back to 120. This hemoglobin A1C, that's a great test to get too, because that's looking at red blood cell, again, at 3 or 4 month life, sugar sticking to your red blood cells, that's what this means. And anything over 5.7 is pre-diabetes, 6 and up is diabetic. Mine was 5.1, which is really good, so I didn't feel quite as bad as about this being a little high. But this is a stress test, this is a glucose stress test. You get the fasting insulin, it needs to be somewhere between here and there, ideally here. Fasting blood sugar, it needs to be less than 100. Then you eat the 75 grams of glucose, and then at 1 hour and at 2 hours, they remeasure it. And with that, they'll know whether you're insulin resistant. So here's a 60-year-old man, still feeling stiff, hard to move, constipations, sleep apnea, rash on the face, 244, big belly, compared to his hips, waist-hip ratio 1. For men, it ought to be less than 0.9, and women, it ought to be less than 0.8, because women have bigger hips, so they don't get the same advantage men do on that one. So anyway, with this guy, his fasting blood sugar in women was only 86. So if they'd only done that, they'd say, that's fantastic. You're one of those kind of chunky people, but you don't have any problem with diabetes. Well, that's absolutely wrong. This is one I always show to medical students, because people keep missing this. See, if they'd have done a fasting insulin as well, it would have been 21, and they'd have picked it up just with that. But there are a lot of people that could have this and have an insulin around 8 or 10, not too bad. This looks, this is CRP, that's way high. We didn't mention that yet, that's a sign of inflammation. But anyway, he went on a 9-month elimination diet, which means he ate a lot of vegetables, got off of fatty meats, got off of sugar, got off of simple carbs. His weight dropped from 244 to 218, lost 26 pounds. The CRP, that inflammatory marker, went from 5.5 to 1.29. Everybody ought to be under 1, honestly. Bowel movement is better. His LDL particles, which were small, which is dangerous, disappeared, and the bigger LDL, which is safe, went way up. And so the bottom line is he got better just by diet, exercise, sleep patterns. So this is something you can look at on YouTube. A doctor from San Diego, they now have a continuous monitoring device for glucose. So it's not probably widely available, but if you look this up, you'll see it, but you can also just Google continuous glucose monitoring. There's all kinds of devices out there. So we're getting to the place you don't even need to stick a finger. You just put a sensor on your finger or your earlobe, then you see what your blood sugar was before you ate, while you're eating, after you ate, and my golly, it will change people's behavior, it will change the world. Because a lot of people are wolfing the food down, probably pop their glucose way higher just because they didn't take the time to eat slowly, chew thoroughly, spend at least a half hour eating a meal, not 5 or 7 minutes. So much of a lot of the health habits we've just thrown out the window because everybody's in a hurry to do everything. So now they also have a finger stick insulin test, so these two things could be available right here in this office before too long, where you can actually get those things done. And they think the finger stick is more accurate than the venous blood one for a whole lot of reasons. This is one I found, Medicine, Future Medicine's already here. Somebody has got, this is a YouTube, you can look up idoctor.com, where this smart doctor's got all these tests that you can do on an iPhone and have them sent directly to his phone to, or some other part of it. I can't even remember what he was doing with it, but I think they've got a sensor in it so they can monitor your glucose on an iPhone is what it is. That's what it is. So it's even getting crazy. So that's the end of their main thing, but here's Hippocrates again, let thy food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be the food. And so I'm going to stop with there. But basically, food is information. All the phytonutrients in foods fit in cell receptors. I'll do this one last picture because it's a really good thing to see. So when your food is broken down and in your blood, it's getting absorbed into your cells, and it's fitting on receptors. And those receptors, the messages are either positive, neutral, or negative, and the stools will respond accordingly. So here's just a small diagram of, let's say this is a good piece of food, and this is a cell, and this little triangle fits in there, and it sends messages through the cell membrane. You have over 500 different enzymes called protein kinases that take parts of that food and information in that food and go to the nucleus of the cell and tells this nucleus to make pieces of nucleic acid that go back out in the cell and make, like if it's a mucus cell, it'll make more mucus. If it's a white blood cell and needs to make antibodies, it'll make more antibodies. If it's a gastric cell and it's supposed to make acid, it'll make more acid. Right food on the right receptors, right message from the nucleus, and bingo, you have happy cells, happy life. Here you got a food allergen. Maybe it's nothing real serious, but it's an allergen. It fits on there. It releases something in the cytoplasm to go to the nucleus. It sends a signal out here that releases something in the cell that says, whoa, slow down here. We got to clean up. Things just aren't right here. You know, it's not an ideal society. And you can see this majorly happening in places like, you know, like it was in Libya, and it still is in Egypt, and like it still is in Syria. I mean, there's a civil war going on here. But the point is, it can happen from stress, trauma, pro-inflammation, wrong foods. But these signals get out into the general blood, now the whole body's on fire. And nothing's working right, because too much of the energy isn't being used up in this part. So that's basically the lecture. This goes on and on and on. But so food is information, and just remember what Dr. Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be the food. And the next $1 billion market, and I was literally on the phone when you came into the office to talk to me with a lady who's now made a nutritional ice cream that lives in Michigan, and her family wants them to talk to me to see what else they can do to market this nutritional ice cream. I've got an appointment tomorrow to meet with another lady in Fort Lauderdale who makes this little cylinder things called snack tips or snack bits. And she's been doing it for about a year. She's gone from 5 stores nationally to 31 stores. I found it in Life Extension. It's delicious. They're these little bite-sized balls of of food that have got quinoa, millet, brown rice, chia, pea protein, but each ball was like 4 grams of protein, 4 grams of the right kind of fat, and 4 grams of carbohydrate, and like a gram of fiber each. So if you eat all 6 of them, it's like a meal. I mean, 24 grams of protein is a full meal of protein, but you're also getting 6 grams of fiber, and you're getting the right fat and the right carbohydrate, and they taste great. And they have a shelf life of 5 months. So I think Dr. Damien is going to have them here after a while. Now people will say, well, they're $6. Well, so they're $6, you know. I mean, the lady is doing this out of her own little home factory. And I told her, I said, you've got to get this bigger because this thing's going to blow up on you because too many people are wanting it, you know. But the point is, where are you going to go to get a good meal for $6? And if you're in a hurry and you're trying to lose weight, why not just eat 6 of these slowly over about 5 or 10 minutes? Enjoy it. It's like eating candy, but it's like a cookie in a ball of cookie dough that's got all the right stuff in it. So more and more people are coming out with stuff like that. There's so many cool things you can do with chia, like I was saying. You can take a fruit juice blend and put chia in it. The fruit juice has got sugar in it. So then take probiotics. Take a couple of capsules of probiotics, open them up and put them in there, and let it sit at room temperature until the probiotics are eating the sugar. So now you've created a fermented fruit drink that's loaded with probiotic bacteria that have already digested the chia and the protein in the chia. I mean, it's like homemade yogurt made out of chia and fruit juice and probiotics. I've done it, it tastes great. I mean, just get very creative. I mean, we've got to take the food industry back to the home. Eating out is a bad choice. If you eat out, try to make sure it's mostly steamed vegetables or raw vegetables, although you gotta plus minus that just because people handling the food. 70 million people a year go to the ER in the United States from food poisoning from eating out. I mean, I'll eat out if it's a place that I know that's good and I've eaten there before. I'll go ahead and eat the salads, but you gotta, don't worry about uncooked food eating out. People think you have to go overseas to have that happen. Forget that, you can do it right here in Miami. And a smart thing to do is to take probiotics and digestive enzymes with you when you eat out, and certainly take the probiotics, because if you're about to get a bacterial infection, I've had it happen. I had a salad from, it used to be Wild Oats, now it's Whole Foods, and I was working up in Fort Lauderdale, and I got back to where I was supposed to be seeing patients, and all of a sudden I got a headache and started getting nauseated, and I knew I had food poisoning. I said, excuse me. I went back to the Whole Foods or Wild Oats and got a quart of fermented kefir and drank the whole quart and ate about a half a bottle of probiotics, and I didn't get sick. I got gurgling, but I didn't get sick. You missed so many good things.
I was right there.
Oh,
I was right there.
Okay.
Absolutely. You guys get some good information?
So anyway, that's pretty much the talk. This goes on for another 70 or 80 slides. And again, if any of you want it, it's fine with me if Dr. D's people can come in with a thumb drive and get it off.
We can zip it all to you if you want to copy it. And or even better yet, we're gonna figure out how we can get this on our YouTube channel so you can watch it again if you want to watch it again.
There you go.
Listen to it again. You just go to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to pull it up on your computer. And
Well, I'll leave that to you.
Oh, I was supposed to be recording? I'm just kidding.
They gave out the
AV tech
genes-
over there.
They gave out the genes for audio, visual, and computers. I didn't get any of those. So.
I remember that one joke you said about the one DNA and the other one.